Welcome to the Smart Nonsense Podcast, where we talk about smart
nonsense, dude.
Self-clap.
We're back. We're back after yesterday's pod was doomed. It was doomed from the start. It was doomed from the start, and I, for one, was really happy to have caught that in the intro of the pod. The intro of the pod was immediately going downhill, and usually we don't catch it till about halfway through the pod.
Right.
Which then, that's just 20 minutes of quality content flushed down the drain. So good to have caught it in the.
I was like cracking the window open, and you're like, no, we're just gonna shut that window. You didn't let me open it all the way and then get out on the ledge and jump. Well, this isn't literal, even though there's a window behind me.
Yeah, don't do that.
Figurative.
Trigger warning. Figurative. I knew it was bad because, I was sitting in the waiting room like this, Riverside.fm, sponsor of the channel now. Thank you. Mm-hmm. And you kind of came in and out 5 times. That's usually a bad sign. You're dealing with some technological difficulties on your end. And then, like I normally do, I made a joke. About what you were wearing. And usually that's fine. We joke, call each other names, goes both ways. And you said, I'm not having it. I don't want anything to do with that.
I'd like to think my skin weren't that thin, but it was so thin, dude. Paper thin, really. like Bible paper thin. Not trying to transition into the Bible studies that I'm doing these days.
Woo!
But I had a couple strikes that day. Getting up early for a different reason, and then I just was a late pod. I'd been up for many hours. Paper thin.
That was
new. Back,
that was
dude.
Crazy. We had Monday and Tuesday morning, 2.5 hour full company finance, helping Jack refinance some debt at Clipped, anal probing of the company from a financier. I think that's over now, but that really threw us out of whack. Not only for 2 days, but for about 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't really done anything except think about numbies, aka numbers, for the last 2 weeks. Where I know we're like the isosceles, this is the ultimate isosceles, where we've always said, hey, well, fuck, we never talked about this, huh? We're the profit sharing guys. David Heinemeier Hansen, Jason Fried, they bootstrap their company. They own all the equity. They don't give their employees equity. They don't give any investors equity, except for Bezos. That's kind of a buying secondaries thing. But that's just not on the table. And we're like, oh, we like that because they're building for the long term. They're not planning to sell the company. So who cares about equity? Problem is they make a shitload of profit. Oh, we don't. So
there were two problems. There were 2 problems. One problem, our CEO, Jack Belcaster, was giving out equity under the table. Didn't know about it. That's fine. We didn't know about it. We heard about it. So then we also started giving out that equity. But then I think more importantly, which is what you were saying, is profit sharing is a wonderful idea when you have lots of profits to share.
Yeah.
And we have been operating at a loss for 3 years. So, but still making money, which is
very confusing. Well, that's the problem. The underlying business is great. We just have a lot of other exciting projects that cost money, and we do them. And then to do them, we got to take on some debt, and that just spirals to the point where we want to get a $500,000 loan in a week. And the only way we get it is if we give up equity to everyone in the company. And so it's just been a massive gun to our head to figure out how to change our entire value system in a week.
It wasn't even just, here's $500,000, give up equity. It was more figure out the cap table and understand what each operator, because we have 3, Jack, my brother, Sam, and Krishna. How do they all play together in this umbrella? How does that play with you and I? And then what are people actually tied to, and what should they be executing on? And for a long time, we were like, oh, we got this bastard child business over there, and we got this really exciting content and business over here. and it was kind of the grand unification we'd been trying to do for 2 years, but always kept pushing off.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we were already unified, but there's like a new player. It's just like a messy, like a lot of interdependencies weaving into this deal thing. I don't know how specific we want to get with that, but point is, we kind of figured it out. If anyone cares, like kind of what we're working towards is there's an umbrella company with all our assets. Henry owns a third, I own a third. The operators, those three, collectively own about a third over time, like vesting, which is cool. I guess that's cool. Still own a bit. We'll probably get diluted more on like Brain Blasts since we got to keep an equity pool for that. I don't know. A little sloppy. Whatever. Figured it out. Awesome.
You got sirens. I got sirens. I'll tell you why we got here. Well, we were talking about where we've been for like 3 weeks, but oh, he's muted. Smart. I'm not gonna bring us back to. And I quote from Winston Churchill: "A man is about as big as the things that make him angry." And yesterday it was cuffed shorts. So I think that's probably.
Well, I mean, the problem is you were right. Immediately after, I'm like, why did I cut? Like, it's already cuffed, and I like cuffed it twice more, and I'm like, what am I doing, dude? And then I just shut down. Really.
Wait, so was there an underlying, like, you were already maybe feeling a little self-conscious?
I was self-conscious about the short. I'm like, because my brother made fun of him the other day, and I was like, I wasn't really questioning these. And then you said it, and I'm like, this fucking podcast, dude. Shut it all down.
First thing I said, sick cuff shorts, dude.
First.
No, they were sick. They were sick.
No, they're sick. I didn't need to cuff them that high. Okay, you're right.
I shouldn't knock that because I was like looking for, I don't know what kind of rabbit hole I went down last night, but I was looking for some old clips or something of us, and I was going through old podcasts and your old shorts, like before you even figured out the shorts, more like when you were clipping the Smart Nonsense podcast and not wearing a shirt in those. Roll them here. Dude, you were stylish. You had the necklace. You had a ring on your index finger. Nerdy dirty.
Fuck.
And yeah, I thought you should bring it back. So, my larger point is like, wear the cuff shorts, dude. Style's sick.
Yeah. Well, I wore the cuff shorts this morning, and I was with someone. They were astounded. Like, I've never seen. This is the nicest thing you've ever worn.
So everyone's commenting on the cuff shorts?
Yeah, this was a positive because I like uncuffed the double cuff. So it's just a single cuff. Well, that would have been a triple, actually. And they loved it. And, dude, I got to get some collared shirts because it really just wearing these baggy tees. But, man, they're aerated, which I really like. But I also realized, like, you can have an aerated button-up. So what am I? Dude, progress, all right? I got sleeves, you know? What do you want? And now I'm getting a cuff.
Here's something from last week. We had the clipped on-site where the 6 of us stateside teammates all assembled in Chicago. Did we talk about that? Are we going to talk about that?
No, we haven't been here for weeks, dude. We've just been having a gun to our
head. What I was going to say is some conversations from that week on-site were centered around the podcast and how the podcast as we know it, you, me, and our 140 closest friends here, it might change. It might change forever. It might change for the better. But it was kind of funny. My brother was basically like, can you guys not just like talk about random gym jamboree and inside jokes for 35 minutes and instead maybe consider doing something a little bit more adjacent to like learning and smart nonsense and like first principles and figuring things out. Yeah. So that's coming.
Well, I mean, I got a topic that I like to talk about.
Is that the fodder? Because is that the fodder?
Yeah.
I've been very scared about the podcast today.
Yeah.
Because you told me like 4 hours ago you're going down the rabbit hole of fodder.
Well,
Which
I mean, this is also one of the strikes yesterday why I tweaked out because I wanted to do my rabbit hole yesterday. I didn't have time. So it was 4 p.m. I don't like being underprepared for something. And not that I'm like super prepared for this. I just, the loop wasn't closed yesterday. And now it feels more closed. So, okay.
what are you thinking
Basically,
about?
the last podcast.
I'm really scared.
I guess not released. Went to the Hamptons, had some fun there, and then I went to Maine, and then you went, and I went to my family home in Narragansett, Rhode Island for a reunion. And there, one of the highlights, many highlights, I think we talked about the hat being lost. That was whatever, next episode. I think it was all next
Bummer.
But,
So just to be clear, just so we're on the same page, the last time we recorded a pod was like 2 to 3 weeks ago. We had to throw out the episode because you named all the names. It was an all downside, no upside episode. Yeah. Maybe we got one more out. Lord knows what we talked about. And then we've been crunching numbers and working on the business for 2 weeks.
Right.
And here we are.
Yeah. So, okay. I don't know. Well, maybe this is a surprise to you, maybe not.
You threw my hat in the river. Actually, in the ocean. In the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And another thing that I did, we did, I guess. You were kind of sleeping. But one of our friends, he is debating proposing. And in the process, we put him through what we called the gauntlet. The spontaneous gauntlet, really. Where...
Well, he asked for it.
He did ask for it. Self-inflicted gauntlet.
He said, lads, I'm thinking about doing this. Please put me through the gauntlet.
Which you should. You should want with your closest friends to go through a gauntlet and get like, hey, what do y'all think about the person I'm about to spend the rest of my life with? And, everyone was a little bit tipsy at this point, maybe drunk even. So we're okay with being more direct and such. But really, it got me thinking just about relationships in general, how people approach them. This person is living with his partner, and they have been, they hadn't been, and I think they broke up, and they got back together, and then pretty quickly after that, are living together, and then a year after that, they're, I guess.
I think what happened there, this is a big stressor I've seen in a number of my friends' relationships, is you get to these kind of big decision points. Their big decision being moving in together. One person gets a little timid about doing that, and then it causes this like crisis. And then they seem to have worked through that, and then they moved in together. It's happened to like all of my high school friends.
Yeah. So the topic that I want to talk about is that it is moving in together before marriage. I don't know. No one knows this, but I'm a man of God now. I've gone to church a couple times.
Really?
Independently. From first principles. I kind of realized a lot of my values are aligned with some Christianity, some religion in general. So I've just been exploring that.
Isosceles. Let's go.
Well, okay. So yeah, there's a lot, but I wanted to go down the rabbit hole because I think a lot of our friends, like, it's kind of the default now, at least in our circle, to go from dating to moving in to marriage. And what's weird, especially if you go from the Lindy perspective, that was never the case.
Yeah, I don't even think it's our circle. I think that's like I haven't gone down the
majority
rabbit hole,
of the country.
Like a millennial. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like the thing. That's the thing.
Right. But it's only a very recent thing. Like, at no point in history was that ever the case. You would date for like 6 months to a year, get engaged, and then a year later you'd be married and move in and start a life together. I'm like, huh.
Or you'd be arranged.
Mostly Indians, right? Or
I don't know.
Maybe other religions. I don't know. Definitely Indians.
Just even throwing that out there.
Yeah, which is also an interesting thing. Actually, I have an Indian friend, and her mom's a comedian, like one of the biggest Indian comedians, and like her whole shtick is like talking about arranged marriages and like marrying for money, and it's like very much like you are building an empire together. Like, love is not part of the equation. It is like, are we gonna merge our families like a dynasty together? So just like interesting perspectives, and I started to question this whole idea of like moving in together before marriage, even questioning sex before marriage. Just going from first principles, dude. Like, what?
Yeah, why
maybe
not?
there's something to why not? Just
Why
start
not?
thinking about it.
Why
'Cause
not?
we're doing a lot of stuff that historically we wouldn't do. So
God, dude.
Man of God. I know, dude, you said this the other day. You're like, speaking about me, you said this to me. You really embody, like no one else, the idea of like strong opinions loosely held.
Oh, yeah. That's Isosceles.
That's Isosceles.
The strongest opinions, but they can change in a week.
Right. And yeah, I have lived with someone I was dating before. So I've been on both sides of the spectrum. But so now I've gone down the rabbit hole of like, okay, what are the strongest arguments for not living together until marriage?
Wait, not living. Yeah.
For like,
you don't live
being
together
separate until marriage.
You get married, then you live together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Against normal culture today, but historically, what people used to do.
The arguments for that.
There's
so
double
many
negative,
negatives.
triple phrasing. Yeah, basically like don't live
Arguments
together.
for get married
for
first.
Don't live.
Argument.
Get married
for-
first.
You double negated.
Positive.
Argument
Yeah.
for get married first,
Nice, dude.
then live together.
Yeah, so dude, I got talking points, and I want to discuss them because I brought this up. Like half of my friend group right now is kind of like dabbling with religion at the same time. We're just like curious about it. It's a really funny thing. Historically, though, makes sense, right? Just today, it's weird.
Well, I think it's. I don't know if this was in your rabbit hole, but is it common for a bunch of like 26, 27, 28-year-olds to be trying to find religion, having no pre-existing religious beliefs, to be experimenting with religion?
Well, we first got into it because we wanted to meet chicks, I think.
There he is.
And but then once the foot was in the door, we're like, oh, some of these values are actually really nice. But it's beautiful. Like, church is literally designed to set you up with your, like, to find your partner. And you already have the same value system, so it's actually really easy. We're like, wow, this is a lot better than the Spaniard. Because I think we were really fed up with the Spaniard at that point.
Right.
No matter how sloppy it is.
For any new listeners, we were at the Spaniard 3 weeks ago, and now we're in church.
Yeah.
So
you got to after the Spaniard, dude.
just to like put how we got here in context.
Yeah. Okay. So
You are a
was there
nerd,
anything-
by the way.
Fully.
This is just like, yeah, no, like the character, right? Like the 5-year-old, like trying to why, how, trying to figure out what the answers to life are.
Yeah. Well, they might have
Oh
already
my
figured
God.
it out. They got a bunch of books about it, old and new. Hold on. Did I have a thought?
There's some really good-
one thing I like a lot of people come into church because they're like at their lowest moment in life. And I don't really think that's the case, which is interesting. It's just like, oh, there might be chicks here. It'd be nice to find a spouse or something. Or like, I don't know what their reasons were, but I think that was one of the big factors. They might have more pure intentions. Heads up.
Who is that? Someone just walked
My
in.
buddy.
You gotta lock your door.
Okay, there are 5 reasons, Steve. I'm going to present this argument, and then we'll talk about each.
Okay.
Number 1, and for context, you've been living with your partner, your girlfriend, for many years, and
Yeah,
I
probably-
don't have a girlfriend.
That's a funny detail. Probably 4 years.
4 years.
We have so many.
And
there's
you
so much
dated how
nuance.
long before that?
What was 4 years ago? 2021. So about a year and a half. There's
Okay.
so much nuance, and maybe we'll get into that. Maybe we won't. Yeah, I'll let you present.
Yeah,
I'll let
it
you
can be
present your
however
facts.
personal you want to make it. One point is, we posed this in the group chat yesterday morning, and kind of why I wanted it as fodder was because the group chat absolutely lit up. It was like a very contentious topic, partially because my roommate right now is living with his girlfriend
And you.
and me.
Which I've also done before.
Throuple, dude. They've survived a lot longer. It's been over a year. So, whatever that means. But point is, it was heated discussion back and forth. And then I was like, oh, we should make this like a little dinner conversation topic. And they shut it down very quickly because I think that it's like a very personal issue or something.
Yeah, it's taboo,
so I'm
right?
like, to talk about this stuff?
For the most part. Like,
yeah, maybe. We tried to do it from a very objective standpoint, but
it was actually, yeah. Well, sorry, dudes. Fucking good on you for bringing one topic to the pod because I got a lot of gym jamboree. We were with a couple on a double date, I don't know, Friday night, and the girl was pretty open about like they're engaged now. They've been together 6-7 years. I bring this up. She was pretty open about one, like they were really struggling like 2 years ago. They actually separated. They moved out because the girl wanted one thing, the guy wanted another thing. Got back together, so they didn't know if they were going to make it. And then she was also really open about like their sex life. And I bring this up because it was jarring to the table how open she was with those two things, because those are two very balloons. Those are two very taboo things, right?
Right.
And I see Isosceles like, I
want to hang out.
Yeah,
there's, I mean, if half the stuff we say in this podcast, like no human would ever utter, never mind in a public space like this. I'm getting, well, this is like, yeah, fuck. Okay, maybe never mind. Well, I was just going to say, like, I'm really going with, like, even, like, the born again virgin thing of, like, no sex till marriage. I don't know if I'll make that. And maybe that's TMI, but already here. But, like, I'm really curious.
I'm really interested in a couple people I know that might listen to this podcast and be really interested in the born again virgin. But let's, as my brother said last week in finding a new format, let's just barrel right on through. You have what, 5? You have a listicle of 5 arguments for getting married first.
Yeah. It's from this guy, Matt Walsh. He's got a really good YouTube channel. Conservative guy.
Very extreme. Or like plays a very extreme person online.
Yeah, I don't watch his, like, he's got a lot of like trans stuff. I just watch his relationship stuff because it's kind of, I vibe with it. But here are his points.
You know what I don't like about Matt Walsh right off the bat? There's a lot of life and no. No, there's a lot of life and no in there. It's just cynical. I don't like dark stuff.
I haven't seen that. I only see him. Maybe it's like there's a lot of like reacting to things. I think that just like does better clickbait. And well, I guess the first point here is kind of negative. I mean, it's a negative. It's like shooting down the whole thing. So, fucking whatever. The title is 5 Reasons Why Living Together Before Marriage Will Kill Your Relationship. Okay. Number 1, there is no commitment. Meaning, fuck, I wasn't really prepared for how to summarize this stuff. But
well, that means what it means, right?
Yeah, you just.
I think that's the millennial thing. You never have to make a decision,
right,
for or against. You're living in some gray area,
right? And you just kind of like slide into things. Like it's kind of easy to be like, well, you know, split rent, see more of each other. It's probably a good thing, and then you just end up in that situation. You're like, where the hell am I?
Wait.
Versus in the past.
Okay, yeah. Sorry.
In the past, like, marriage was like a very clear. There was a before and an after marriage. Versus now, like, fuck, I might be mixing all the points because there are multiple points. But now it's like your life. Like, if you were to get married, your life doesn't change at all. It's like you literally get married and then go back to the same apartment you're already living in. It's like,
right.
Well,
in my case, for all intents and purposes, we are married. And then you have us sitting around a lot of the time like, well, are we actually going to do the thing? Like, do we actually need to do the thing? Like, should we? You know?
It just becomes like a little piece of paper and like a lot of government bureaucracy coming in versus like this special moment where you're like, I'm committing to this person for life. And it's like, it's marked, set in stone. And now I think when you have like your because you're like kind of already married, but you haven't committed, like it makes the marriage less committed. If that makes sense.
It almost like dilutes the moment in time where you stand at the altar and you put the rings on.
Versus now it's like we are one for the rest of our lives, and it's very clear. Which I like. I vibe with. I'm like, if I can make it special, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And like it is really a big event of like this. I'm officially marking like you are my only person, the only person I'll spend time with for the rest of my life. Oh, getting emotional.
Well, I'm thinking about
number 2.
Just
okay.
I'll try not to do this on every point, but I kind of want to hear. I don't know why you had this belief before, but what was your belief around
the 7
maybe
years?
This is maybe this is a bad idea.
Well, no, I mean I think that's silly now. I've changed my ways as Sophocles.
But what was it?
Originally, 7 years was like, hey, divorce rate is really high. We really don't know what we're getting into, and like people change a lot. So like we should just have check-ins every 7 years of like you want to renew this marriage. But the new angle, which I like better, is like, hey, let's just freaking commit to this thing, and like we're gonna figure it out no matter what.
Yeah,
like there's no option.
I think the trouble with the 7-year thing is like years 4, 5, and 6.
Right.
You're like there are always going to be doubts. People are imperfect. Years 4, 5, and 6, you start thinking like, oh, maybe this person's changing a little bit. Like, it almost gives you an out when you get to 7 years to be like, all right, I'm gone.
Right.
And I think the more powerful thing I've told you over time is like, I believe, and I saw this from my parents, but like the more important quality in a partner is having this like, we'll figure it out together. And if you're changing, like I want to change with you, or I will support your change.
Right. That was actually even from a business side, 2 times. One early this year, I was really struggling, and I'm like, I almost had like, I want to like run, like get out, and that's just like not an option.
If it's not an option,
you just figure it out. Same thing with your brother recently with like this whole gun to the head situation. It's like, for a second, it's like, oh, like maybe I have to run also, and it's like, no, we just like we're family, we're gonna figure this out.
Yeah, everything's figure outable. Yeah, he was like, if you guys don't figure these finances out, like I'm gonna have to go do something else. And I was like, whoa, like I didn't even know that was an option.
Yeah, thought we were married.
Yeah, like I just
whatever, siblings, family.
It's gonna be hard, but like yeah, you figure it out.
Right.
He's fine. We're fine.
Okay, number 2, cohabitating puts the emphasis on the wrong things. This is where like a lot of people are like, we need to sort of do this sort of like trial run, simulate marriage, what it'd be like to see if we're actually compatible living together. And his point is like, hey, that just means you're gonna like focus on whether they take out the trash enough, or like they're a little bit messy, or like little like small things that ultimately don't determine the success of a marriage. He's like, no, that you should be concerned with like values. Like, are they a good person? Do they, want to have family, kids, etc.? How do they want to raise them? Not how the toothpaste
Can't remember where I got this, but it was probably some famous therapist or sex therapist book or something. But she was saying something similar, which is like, you might have a partner that's a really bad roommate. Maybe they're a little messy. Maybe they don't load the dishwasher. Maybe they don't take the trash out. But like what you're saying, like those aren't the important things. Make more money. You can hire like in our case, like that was a thing. I'm very clean and OCD. Athena less so. That caused a huge amount of stress for me. So we hired a housekeeper once a week that cleans out, tidies, and does the laundry. It's a non-problem.
Right. But you convince yourself it is when you're like, no, we need to simulate in order to see if we're a good match. It's like, no, you don't need to live together. You just figure it out when you're together. It's not that hard to figure out.
Yeah, you should.
And everyone's got their own baggage.
Communicate and compromise. It's like, oh, you never do the dishes. Like what? Where are you picking up slack then? Like I'll do the dishes. I'll do the dishes, right. But then can you walk the dog in the morning? It's that I think that's the more important thing is the being able to communicate those things.
Yeah, I think one of my friend's counterpoints to this was like, he was saying like there are people that like you realize you can't get along, or like you see people more like in the highs and the lows, because you see them not 24/7, but like a lot more than you would if it's just like in one-offs. But you don't have to live together to spend a lot of time together. So I'm like, you can still see the highs and the lows, I think. without living together.
Yeah, they're probably extremes. I do think there are some like real slobs that don't do anything, just deadbeats, and it's like, well, that's probably more of like a
Yeah, but you'd know
that's
that
like
without living together.
Yeah, right.
You can also just see someone's apartment and just be like, they're clean or they're not clean. And like, okay, I'll figure that out. Number 3, living together before marriage makes it too hard to leave. It's probably the obvious one. That's like, especially if it's financial, which in New York, I think that's a big case of like, you want to live in a nice area, but it costs $5,000 a month. It's like, well, wouldn't it be better if it cost $2,500 a month? It's like, okay, we're going to live together. And then you get in this like a lease together. We've had friends that like get pets together. Basically, they're like, for all intents and purposes, married, but they're not married because they haven't like really considered whether they're the right match. Because it's so easy to just slide into a lease together. Like, oh, our cycles sync, and then let's just do it. But you haven't really made the decision or the commitment. And then if you then realize later on that you're not a good match, breaking up is like literally getting divorced. It's like almost as hard as getting divorced. Any
elaboration? No, yeah, I think there's less friction to get in, like you said, and then especially in like a high cost of living city like in New York, there's like it's so hard to go off and be on your own again. It's equivalent to a divorce, I guess.
Which means you end up just getting so much inertia and getting married by accident. And that's actually why couples that don't live together, as in like stay separated, they're happier marriages. Like people that cohabitate, it's kind of the big premise of this, they divorce at a higher rate. A lot of variables of like, okay, well, people that don't live together are probably more Christian and they're like, they care more about marriage. But like, it's not the opposite way. It's not the case that living together means you have a lower divorce rate. It's actually higher statistically.
Right. I think it's kind of like the satisficers versus maximizers, right? Like a satisficer will get a dinner menu, look at one thing, make their decision on what they're going to eat and not question it. A maximizer is like always wondering, I ordered this thing, but what if I got that other thing I wanted? Or if I got this thing, or this thing would have been hotter. And it's a known fact that like satisficers are happier. And it's not because they're making better decisions. It's just because they're committed to those decisions.
Right. Yeah, which I really like, because otherwise you always got these googly eyes and you're always just thinking. It's like, no, this is just it. One point they make, which I actually really like, is when you move in together, then like we talked about, it kind of like makes everything almost as hard as a divorce. When really like with the before and after marriage, like before marriage, when you're dating, it should be so easy to break up. Like in 30 minutes, you can be out of someone's life because you're supposed to be like trialing a lot of people and like seeing who fits. Easy? Bad term?
No.
What? Oh.
That'll be off the record.
Okay. It should be really easy to break up. But once you're in the marriage, it should be really hard to get divorced. So like rather than just have it like kind of easy or like hard to break up and whatever, kind of like flatlined, just you want to, I guess, barbell it, like really easy to break up. Ow, fucking funny. Dude. Holy nerve endings. Really easy to break up, really hard to get divorced, which I like.
You're doing great.
Thanks, dude. Well, I'm reading an article.
Reading the headings off an article.
Okay. What was that? Number 3? I think we're on number 4. Number 4, which we kind of already talked about, but you can figure out everything you need to know without living with them. So their main points are like, are they faithful? Are they honest? Do they keep a good heart? Are they virtuous? Do they love God? Religion.
There he is.
Do they keep their promises? Do they have the same fundamental goals and priorities in life?
I think Malcolm Gladwell wrote this book called Blink, I think. Basically how like humans are so good at judging other humans, and also the opposite. We read them wrong for a lot of reasons. But you can do that in like, at least in terms of like reading, if you don't have Asperger's, reading body language and facial cues and tone and all that. You do it in like microseconds. And I think the parallel here is like, I think after like several dates, a couple months, like you probably have a pretty good gut idea of like who the person is, right?
Yeah. If you're, I think, this is a big, I didn't talk about it here, but I think a big change for me, and like, I don't want to trigger warning people, but this guy, Ben Shapiro, which kind of in this camp, like he got married basically within like months to his wife, like 2 months or something. And he said the reason why was he got some advice from his dad, which is basically like, hey, dating, like you don't just do this casual dating thing. You are dating to marry. So when you're dating to marry, you're actually looking for these traits, versus a lot of people are just like dating for like just to have fun or whatever, and then like end up sliding into a relationship. When you do that, you aren't really like looking for these traits. Versus if you were, you could tell almost immediately, like, are they the right match? And here he kind of says 2 points that are like, basically you should know within like 6 months, and if you don't, you have the perceptiveness of a potato.
I guess that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah. And he's like, this is a pretty reliable rule. If you've been with someone for a few months and still have no idea whether he fits any of the criteria I listed above, he doesn't. So it's basically like, hey, like if you're uncertain, clearly the reason why. Just get out of there.
What was that thing about you can't make like a checklist or trait list of somebody, because it's not about like, oh, they like dogs and they like to drink coffee and we like to go to these types of places for dinner, because the things that actually matter are like, you can't put them on a piece of paper. It's how the person makes you feel. How
good are they at tennis?
That's probably why we were talking about it in the past, right? But it's like these innate things. It's like, do they make you happy? How do they make you feel? Do you look forward to them coming home? Do they the example they used was so good, but something like, does this person make your soul feel full or whatever when it didn't before? You can't list these traits on a piece of paper.
Right. Yeah. A big one is, how do they make you feel? That was like Logan Uri. I was listening to her podcast earlier.
Oh, maybe that's what it was.
And yeah, there's like that. Plus, like you still have to be aligned with like, do you want to have kids? How many? How do you raise them? Etc. Like value stuff, but also like the feelings. Like if you get both of those, just freaking commit, basically. And a big thing. There's this book, Jonathan Haidt. Is that his name? Haidt?
Sure.
How do you say his name?
One of those.
Happiness Hypothesis. One chapter was on love and attachment, I think. And it was saying how like there's two types of love. There is passionate love, which is like that fire that, you're just going to get after it. Double touch, they might say. Inside joke. It's just a lot of physical. Versus passionate or companionate. Companionate love is like the slow burn over time of like, you're building trust together. Your companions, like you're on the same team, and you just like, you trust each other. It's kind of like, what we probably have at work. It's just like it's complete trust, and you just like, you can count on this person for everything.
And I think it gets all the way back to the point where it's like, when you've got those innate things with your person, the trash doesn't matter, the dishwash doesn't matter, the mistakes they make don't matter.
Yeah.
Because the underlying, the big things, the trust, the loyalty, how they make you feel, the companionship, whatever.
Which is kind of like your mom's advice, which is basically like, marry someone that loves you. Like they should. I don't know how the phrasing was exactly.
She said, because I went through a tough breakup in college. She was like, you need to you should find somebody. You'll want to find somebody that's head over heels for you. And it'd be obvious when you have that, because the girl I broke up with, it was like, by the end it was just this tepid thing. I was probably more in love with her than vice versa.
And you broke up with her?
I don't remember. The first time I think she broke up with me. There's a little bit of double touch, and then I think I broke up with her. Yeah, because she wasn't head over heels.
Right.
Yeah, there were other reasons, but met someone better too.
Nice. So I think like one thing I'm trying to deprogram actively in the book, Caution Against This, is like, don't get seduced by the passionate love. I think our brains were wired to just go towards the passion when companionate love is what you really care about, and it's really hard to like override the passion. So it's kind of got to be like front brain, like think through this.
Well, passion almost always comes first too, right? There are those like Greek loves, like physical.
That's why I like the born again virgin. I'm like, dude, if that's just off the table, you don't have these biases. Granted,
I will say,
but I'm realizing.
Go ahead, finish your thought.
Well, I went really deep down the rabbit hole and like, well, I don't. Maybe that's too vulgar.
Oh,
You can't get off at all. Let's say. Fuck, dude, too vulgar. So then you just end up more pressurized, and then I think it's actually worse. I don't know.
That's interesting. I'll get you out of that jam, which is basically, me and Athena, the person I'm currently with, her and I, what did we call each other at the beginning? Oh, we were calling each other prudes. We basically didn't do anything for a long time. I can't remember why.
I don't know about
like
that.
Maybe
she was hanging out at our house
a couple of weeks. I can't remember why, but we weren't for some reason. I think it was because I was hung up on my ex. But anyway, dude.
Well, that's what I really like. Now that
we just became friends first. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I guess.
And I have a couple other friends that kind of had that mentality going in as well. It's like, are you friends first? And then like, obviously layer on the passion. Like that's going to be there. Awesome. But like test for the companion at first. And again, that's why I like intentional. Cause like before I just slippery slope into anything versus now it's like, I know what I'm getting into and I want to come in with like a good plan to really test for these things versus fucking sloppy Spaniard of a life before.
3 weeks ago. No, it was more than that.
No, but one thing that was good about the sloppy span is like I'd see very physically attractive, like very high passion people, and I'm just like, I don't care. Like that's just like not. I'm just like I've done it.
I think about that a lot. There are beautiful people in the world. Like you talk to them for 3 seconds, and you're like, oh, this would obviously never work.
Right.
I can't do that for 75 years. There's no way.
And one thought I've also had is like when I went back to my hometown for a reunion thing, I just look around at the old people there and like everyone's ugly. Like whoever's hot when they're 20, it's like there's not a chance they're hot at 60. It's like 1 in 100 maybe. It's like that what? But personality, that doesn't change. That only gets hotter over time. It's like, let's just fucking rip for that. Sorry, dude. Last point, number 5. This is kind of what we talked about. Cohabitation is modern. Basically, in the past, how it used to work is, yes, you would date, then get married, then live together, then have sex. Sex was just to have kids. Versus now, it's just sloppy. That's also why I'm kind of like anti-birth control and abortion now, because I think it creates bad incentives. And it ruins families because of that. Because you're sleeping with people you don't actually want to marry. It gets all messy. Not the point of this podcast, but in the
next
past
episode.
Pro-choice
or pro-life?
Dude, I did bring that up this weekend, and that girl thought I was joking. That I was pro-life. Hold on, I had a point. Oh, in the past, basically, you would like. The total time from meeting someone to marrying them was around like 2 years or so. It'd be like you date for 6 months to a year, and then you get engaged and you get married by year 2, basically. But now it's literally more than double that. I think it's more like 5 years on average from like meeting someone to actually getting married. That seems so nuts.
Did you figure out why that is?
Well, partially because you can just like live together and like you go from, because you now have this extra phase in between, you will still maybe date for a year or two before moving in. But then once you move in, you're going to move in for a year or two before you actually get engaged.
Yeah, I'm just like,
and so each phase is another.
Why did it
2 years.
change? Was it education? Is it like a higher education thing? Is it a less religion and more birth control thing? Was it the
Yeah, I think
women's rights movement? That's probably a big
it was
piece
a
of
lot
it.
of that sexual revolution in the 60s, where they basically tore down all of religion. And when you tear that down, like, you just have a sloppy span of a life, and then everything, like, it just, I don't know. Like, I always come back to this, but it's like, the reason why I'm getting more conservative is because of the, like, analogy of you see a fence and you don't like that fence, so you just go and tear it down without knowing, like, why is that fence there in the first place. And then if you know why it's there, then you can tear it down. But kind of like every young person is just like, fence, tear down. Don't like fence. And I think that just ends up kind of like over time getting to the current situation. But I don't know. I think like given like unlimited sex with anybody forever, and like women in the past were very like there's big slut shaming. So you like did not want to do this. But guys, they're like, oh, if I can just like have as many women as I want for as long as I want, like I'm kind of gonna do that.
Oh, that's a good book, The Selfish Gene.
Does it talk about that in Selfish Gene?
Well, yeah, because men aren't actually, like, genetically aren't really involved in child rearing. Right. So at the genetic level, the incentive for men is to have as many partners, spread their seed literally as far as possible. For a woman, they carry the baby for 9 months. Their incentive genetically is to rear that child and then take care of it for those first 6 or 8 or 12 years or whatever.
Right. So if they're no longer the barrier, yeah. And you're also like I think the idea now is you want to get your life completely figured out, like financially, like get to know yourself entirely and like stability, whatever. And then you get married as like the capstone event. Versus in the past, it was like, no, let's get married and then just figure out life together. And it's just like that inversion is why, people are getting married at 28 to 30 now versus like whatever 23, 24 in the past. Those are the main points, dude. I found the arguments quite convincing.
Yeah, I land somewhere in the middle, by the way. I'm really sympathetic to both sides. On your point about, oh fuck, what did you just say? Oh, living. Oh fuck, it was such a good point, dude.
What did I just?
Just gonna tie a little bow on.
Well, you get married first, and then versus capstone.
Like you
married and figured out.
Oh, having like figured yourself out financially, career-wise, you don't ever figure those things out. I think I saw this with my brother, like them having kids at 21, 22. Like by all metrics, they were not ready to do that. But you figure it out. We even right before we got our dog, which I don't think it was in your points, but I do think that's probably something that's happening more, is instead of having kids young, couples are getting dogs. But anyway, we didn't think we were ready, and we weren't. And like financially, I had $0 in the bank. Like we couldn't get a lease at a place. Like we were not ready. And then one day we just woke up and we were like, no, we're ready to have a dog. Like we want to have a dog.
Right.
And then we got her, and then we figured it out. She's still alive, thriving.
Yeah.
Right. Like I don't think that. I do think one day you just maybe come to terms with it, like having kids, but I don't think there is like figuring it out and getting financially ready beforehand. I think you just figure shit out for all of life.
Yeah. There was a tweet that I put out, and I wanted to say we should ban pets until after you have kids. Because I think people are using them as that replacement, like you said.
Dude, I don't even see your tweets anymore. What the fuck?
I don't really tweet anymore.
But why don't elevators let you cancel a floor by pressing it again? Hell yeah. My elevator doesn't even have buttons. Wait, what did you just say? I had the counter.
Ban pets until after having kids.
I think on the flip side, in my case, like we didn't get the dog to be like a trial run. But I see how Athena, my girlfriend, takes care of the dog, treats the dog, how much she loves the dog. And that aspect of it, I'm like, oh, she's going to be an amazing mom. I can already tell, like, she loves this thing more than herself. So I guess on the flip side,
Oh, dude.
it gave me a lot of confidence.
Yeah. I think the counterpoint would be like, you don't need to do that. So like there are ways of getting like proxies for actually raising a dog for many years to
Right, how they treat
see
people.
are they going to be a caring mother? Yeah, how they treat, a waiter or something.
What's their relationship with their family? How do they treat their siblings, friends?
I wanted something good. Hey, there's more time, more podcasts in the future. Wait, hold on. Sorry, I'm excited. Your brother figured out. You're kind of interesting because you're the exact opposite of your brother. He was like, had a kid very early and just figured out for the next 10 years. You were like, relationship early, but we're not going to get married for 10 years.
And because we had so much, this was the nuance I mentioned at the beginning, like stuff we're still dealing with, which is a lot of those slippery slopes, like you said, right? So Athena graduates during the pandemic. We kind of move in together because of that. Then we went off and lived in a tiny home. That stressed me out. That was all kinds of things. Then moving around. What was my point? I think my point, yeah, I'm sympathetic. I thought what my brother did at the time was crazy. I'm sympathetic to it. I think. Oh, shut down. I think
It's a late podcast for shooting.
50 odd minutes. I think. Oh, dude, this is the yes man, but like everyone's different strokes for different folks. Every relationship has a different story. They're complicated. They're messy. They're hard. I think, yeah. And again, I think the most important thing is when they get hard, do you run or do you have all those like deep innate things where you're like, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
That's why I'm even
biggest thing.
sympathetic to the
Committed.
gauntlet, even though I
out.
fell asleep during the gauntlet because it was 4 a.m.
Sympathetic? What does that mean? To the gauntlet.
Everyone was putting the pressure on our friend in the gauntlet. I'm also sympathetic to his point of view and his relationship, and we'll never know the intricacies of that relationship, well,
Right.
to the level he does.
We might know more than he does.
That's mischievous.